One exercise you can do to work on strength, sensory pad, and fine motor control, so all three parts of the hand after you've had a stroke, is something called the dividing game. So for the purpose of this, I'm using the hard therapy putty. You always want to make sure that you're challenging your hands when you're using therapy putty, and that you play with the putty for a long enough time to be impactful for that brain-body connection. So two of the biggest mistakes I see people make is A, that they use the easiest putty resistance, which isn't going to be an impactful exercise. You want to fatigue the hand by the time you're done playing with this putty. And the second mistake I see people make is they never play with it long enough. So they play with it for 5 minutes and they're done. When in reality, the beauty of putty is that you could sit there, you could play this game that I'm about to show you, and you could do it while you're watching TV. You barely have to pay attention to it. So for the dividing game, it's pretty simple. You're going to start by making one ball. Again, when we're using our entire hand, we're working on this sensory pad. You can see I'm giving input to the pad. So here's the sensory pad part, the rolling. Now, if you notice, when I start to pull at this putty, this is going to take some strength. And you notice I'm using my last two fingers in here, in this piece, this part of the activity. So that means I'm working on the strength. So I'm going to pull, and it's going to take a little bit of effort. I'm going to take, now I have two balls. So again, we're dividing the one into two. Again, I'm working on strength. I'm working on my sensory pad. You can also see I'm using my forearm and my upper arm to brace myself. So this really is an overall good activity to do for the arm as well. If this actually started to get too easy, you could even combine your putties. You could combine like the soft and the hard. The more you do, the better. So dividing game, I have two balls. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the putty, I'm going to divide this into two. I'm going to divide this one into two, and you can see I'm really having to use my manipulators, my strength, my fingers that help me with strength, and then I'm just going to, again, keep doing this until we get to these really tiny pieces. So now you keep dividing the therapy putty so you keep dividing everything into half, right? So now I'm dividing. And the benefit, the cool thing is as you start to get down to these smaller and smaller balls as you're dividing, you're starting to use more of your manipulators. So in the beginning, I had to take that wad and pull. I'm really using, again, all fingers means I'm using strength. I'm working on strength. And then I'm rolling, I'm working on my sensory pad. But by the time I get down, now you can see here, I'm only using my first three fingers. They're my manipulator fingers. So if you want to be able to hold a pen again or button a button or do small things. So if you see, in order to get this ball, I'm really having to use and manipulate and pull with my manipulators rather than my whole hand. So for the dividing game, I would recommend you can combine therapy putty if you're starting to get stronger. You're going to sit there for 45 minutes or an hour and just sit there and watch TV or talk to someone or whatever you want to do. You can do it sitting on your couch. You can do it sitting at a table. You can do it in bed on a tray. You're just going to work your big wad and you're going to keep dividing until you get the dividing into the small pieces. These small little balls. Now, one more warning. With therapy putty, it does not harden like Play-Doh. It melts. So you never want to fall asleep with it on your clothes or on a bed or a cloth. It'll embed into the clothing. But when you're done, you're just going to take it all. You're going to wad it back up, put it back in your therapy container, and then you're going to do it again. I would recommend minimum 1 to 2 times a day. And you really can't do it too much.